ever went live outside my house. First time. I'm in a forest and I'm not going to stay too long. I mean, my live here on YouTube are not long, even like as in general on TikTok or whatever, it's not long. I do like sometimes live on Twitch as well, but it's just going to be like for a few minutes. But I really want to talk about something without making like a short about it, like like a 3 minute short or whatever. I really want to be free, like I don't know. Because YouTube, the shorts are like not over 3 minutes, and when it comes to the long videos, I don't really want to do long videos about that. So yeah, that's why I'm live. All right, so I want to talk about specific situations that I'm going through lately that are totally different, and you will understand what I mean by that. But the moral, what I'm supposed, like how I'm supposed to deal with the situation, the ending, let's say, is the same, right? So what's going on is that where to start? I was in a situation, and I'm going to talk about this on my podcast, on Tara Podcast. And also, by the way, I created another podcast, which is named Imperfect Podcast. And it's literally me not cutting out anything. All right. So the only edit will be putting a picture or whatever. But like, I'm not going to cut the moment where I'm going to talk. I'm not going to cut anything, which, this is what I'm doing on my videos or my other podcast. So that's why I choose to call it Imperfect Podcast. But I'm explaining why I'm doing this over there, and there's already one episode out, so you can go check it out. And it's the same channel as Ontara. All right, so you write Ontara Podcast, and you will find my other podcast. And over there, I'm talking about also a situation I've been through a few years ago. It was very, like, I was so down. Like, I think even in Ontara, there's an episode about that is going to be out also, where I'm explaining what I've been through. So I'm not going to go too much into detail. But no, it was not. Did I say 2 years ago? It was 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I've been through a very, very hard situations with fleas. All right. And there's people in my family around me. They didn't believe me. They were like, no, but we cannot see any fleas or whatever. But like the people that were telling me this were not like living here. And some people that stayed maybe one night were like, I didn't feel anything or whatever. So I ended up contacting a psychic that I already contacted a few years before, few years prior. And I was like, okay, if it's really in my mind, like I'm going to contact this psychic that I know is legit, right? And if she's telling me, hey, Lila, it's all in your mind, nothing's going on, you're seeing things, I was telling my friends, you know what, I will feel better because I would at least have an answer, right? And people were like my friends, they were like, I don't know if I would feel better if I was at your place, because if people, like, if this psychic is telling you, yeah, you're like seeing things or imagining things that are not there, I don't know. And I was like, you know what, I'm going through so much, it has been like so long that I had dark thoughts of, like, at that time. I was like, at least I will know. The worst is not knowing. So what happened is that this psychic was like, you're not imagining things. Like, back then they were really like fleas in my house, but because people didn't believe me. But she said, she explained me in her ways that I think what happened was that I started seeing them everywhere, thinking they were everywhere, right? So like the situation was legit, I didn't imagine it, but I started, making it like kind of like a big deal. And I traveled the world for 2 years. By the way, I have a channel where it was a vlog. I'm filming myself in multiple countries. You can go check on YouTube. It's Lila Pierre, whatever. And it was for 2 years. Then I came back, and yeah, I got back into this house that were professionally treated, no fleas, no nothing anymore, right? So what happened was that when I got back for 2 years, so I've been living in this house for almost 2 years. Awesome. Nothing were happening. Awesome. And literally a few weeks ago, I have fleas. And I was like, the fuck happened? Like, why is it back? Because literally, when I was in this situation 4 years ago, this led me to having a mental breakdown. I was like, I don't want that again. Like, what's going on? What, like, the spiritual meaning? What is the spiritual meaning, right? I just wanted to understand that. So I did a tarot reading few weeks ago. Well, the moment I realized I have fleas, because I was seeing things, jump, and I was like, oh, damn, not again, right? Because when you try to sleep, it's like stinging you and stuff. It's just not comfortable. It's hurting a little bit. So I did a tarot reading, and my guides literally told me that it's a soul contract, right? So my soul, before incarnating, decided, and I now I understand why the psychic didn't wanted to tell me this, because sometimes I'm going through some things and I'm contacting her and she's like, well, your guides don't want you really to know this, but like they want you to make your choice. Which, when she said that about one specific situation, it's literally what came out in my tarot reading before. And whatever, I did this tarot reading. It's a soul contract. So what I'm going through right now is, they literally told me, okay, you, whatever the situation is in your life, and this is the theme of this life today, whatever your situation is, whatever is going on in your life, don't react to it. And it's easy to say. Me, like 4 years ago, hearing this, I would be so frustrated, so annoyed. Like, easy to say. You're not the one having fleas and having like to sleep on them, literally. Like, But I was not actually, because I'm more spiritual. I'm more positive, because I did some tarot readings last year, and my guides were like, you have to be careful about your thoughts, because your thoughts are, you know, kind of like the one creating your reality. So you have to be careful of what you think and the energy you're putting out. So I was like, all right, let's attract positive things. So I didn't take it this time in a negative way. I was like, all right, just all right. Okay. So I was like, okay, I did another reading, like, tell me something, tell me what to do. And I had a big no, like, because it's a soul contract, I have to, they said, we're here for you, blah, 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 but like, just figure it out yourself, even if we're going to be there anyway. So I was like, okay, it's something that I've heard from a guy that is channeling a multidimensional being. And this being said, literally, multidimensional beings, it's like extraterrestrial. And this being, during this channel, said, okay, you need to understand that you're going to have like new ideas or solutions to situations that are matching your vibration. So if you are going through something negative and you can only focus on the negative part, you're feeling like, I don't find any solutions. The solutions that I have are not real solutions to this problem. But if you take this either in a neutral way, so you don't react, either in a positive way, like, okay, let's see this not as a problem, but let's see this as a challenge. Let's try, this is what I'm doing, right? I'm always trying to see this as a challenge instead of a problem, because I love challenging myself. So I know that instantly I'm thinking about finding a solution. So I'm staying in a high vibration, which actually it works, because I have ideas that are matching my vibration. So I'm getting, if I'm in a positive state, then I'm going to have positive ideas on how to get out of the situation I'm in. So literally 3 days ago, I had to go to the hospital because it was hurting my stomach in a very specific area in my stomach. And I was like, okay, there's something wrong. Long story short, yes, I have something, but it's not anything serious. But once again, I was like, why am I going through this? Because I know, and I'm realizing that whatever physical stuff I'm having, it's coming from the mental, right? Kind of like you're creating it mentally. So what I do usually when I have something, even before contacting the hospital and the doctors. And I'm never going to say, don't go to the doctor, you have to deal with yourself, blah blah blah. To me, it's still really important. But the first thing that I do usually when I have a physical problem is searching the spiritual meaning on what I have. So I search on internet, on Google. What I usually have is, it's general things, and it's doesn't mean that it's going to apply to everyone, but it's giving me a theme, like it's giving me an idea. So this is literally what I did, and it gave me an idea, but I was like, it's too general, I don't know. So what I did was asking myself, okay, what am I feeling? Because I know it's the only way for me to deal with this situation and to understand why it's there. So why am I feeling during those moments, like mentally, what am I feeling, right? So I was like, okay, so I'm feeling literally, I for 2 days I didn't want to go to the hospital, and people around me were like, Lila, just go if you don't feel okay. And I was like, no, but like, I don't know, like it's like 5 out of 10. I'm not really like, it's hurting, but it's not, I've been through worse, it's okay. And I was like, yeah, I've been feeling like this. Like I didn't really want it to know. I didn't want to bother. And I was like, okay, so I need to focus on this feeling. Why am I feeling this? Why am I feeling like that when I'm literally hurting? And at the end of the day, I had something. So, I had to understand myself, to understand what was my belief, because it's always going to come from certain beliefs. It can be positive beliefs, negative beliefs, but I did the work. Usually, I either kind of like do a recording on my phone as if I'm talking to someone, but I'm just talking to myself, because saying it out loud is helping me, let's say, reorganizing my thoughts, or I'm writing about it. And once again, what I've received from my guides, because I'm also turning to, so I went to the hospital, blah, blah, blah. They gave me the medicine, the drugs. You say this like this in English? Whatever. Médicament in French. And I also turned to the spiritual aspect of my situation. And my guides told me, whatever is going on physically, it's the same. Don't react to it. And don't react to it, once again, doesn't mean just ignore what's going on, because you can ignore what's going on, but it's not going to, it doesn't mean that you're not feeling something. You can still feel sad. So don't react to it. It's also emotionally, especially emotionally. So I was like, okay, literally yesterday, so it's it's a lot. And then I'm going to explain why I'm going through, because for like almost like a year and a half, I was kind of like, okay, I was working on my professional project, working on myself. I was doing okay. And then like literally maybe like in a month, so much stuff is happening. So the last situation I'm going through is being in contact with someone that is very, very negative. And when I say very negative, it's like bully kind of person, right? And when it comes to this person, I don't want this person in my life. This person is not, like, hasn't been in my life for, I don't know, years, right? And, usually when I see this person, for some reason, we just ignore each other. We don't say hi, we don't say bye, we just literally ignore each other. And what happened, like, literally a few days ago, is that I am in a situation where I have to be around this person more often. So I'm like, okay, but this person is reacting to me. Like, this person is reacting to just my presence. I'm not paying attention to this person, and this person is going to pass by me and just, like whispering, like insults or stuff, like bullying kind of things, right? And I'm not reacting, I'm just ignoring the person. I'm being the bigger person, literally. Even if the person is like older than me, I'm being the mature one. And again, I was like, why am I spiritually, like, why am I in this situation? What is this situation supposed to teach me? So what I'm getting, and something that I remembered from a multidimensional being that was channeled by a man that is doing YouTube videos that is named Daryl Enka. So the multidimensional being, we call him Bashar. If you haven't seen a video from Bashar, please go watch, because whatever, if you don't believe in channeling or whatever, it doesn't change anything. It's going to help you. And the Bashar was saying that sometimes you can be in a situation randomly. Like, it doesn't mean that the situation is there for you to understand something as a soul contract or whatever. It doesn't mean that the situation you're going through is for you. Sometimes it's for someone else's understanding. Sometimes you can go through a situation with someone, and it's not you that have to understand something from the situation. And that's why in spirituality they say a lot, don't react to situations, whatever, if it's a situation for you to understand something, or if it's a situation for you not to understand something but for the other person in this situation, it doesn't matter. So this situation I'm in right now, I think with the person that is kind of like a bully, literally, it's not even kind of, this person is literally a bully. And what I'm going through is, okay, I'm just focusing on me. If the person, and it's the case, the person is reacting to just my presence, like the person is bothered that I am here breathing the same air, literally. I'm not even talking, I'm not even seeing the person, whatever. And I'm like, okay, what I'm focusing on myself, it's like a good exercise to, because I'm always asking, okay, what can I understand from this situation for myself as to evolve, right? So it's a good exercise for me to not react to situations, which is like, why did my soul decided to agree on being in this situation? Because I could have situations less hard for me, not like to teach me how to not react. You know what I mean? But anyway, it's a good exercise. It's the best exercise ever. And also I'm getting something spiritually that is telling me that it's really not for me, because the person in this situation that is a bully, that literally I don't want this person in my life, but I have to deal with this person, you know, lately and probably for a few more weeks, literally has a problem with their own emotions. They're going through dark stuff. It's okay, you know, it's just, I know, I can understand, I can see, like, like psychologically or like spiritually what the person is going through. I understand that when the person is like either shouting at me, either, you know, like whispering insults, like when they pass by me, like bullying kind of stuff, I understand that it's not me. It's it has nothing to do with me, and that I understand. And it doesn't mean that you have to accept everything and you have to accept bullying, and you have absolutely not. I'm just, it's easier for me to understand this situation. Like, I literally felt better understanding and reminding myself, oh, it has nothing to do with me. Because how can you be bothered by someone that is ignoring you, just living their own life right next to you, right? So it's a problem with yourself. But, you know, I'm okay when it comes to, if the person is, I don't know, if the person becomes violent or whatever, I'm going to go to the police. It's as simple as this. I'm not joking about that. And, you know, I'm safe and I'm going to keep myself safe. But it's still like helping me to understand the spiritual aspect. So whatever I'm going through, which is a bunch of things lately, I'm still, like, I'm listening to what my guides are telling me. And it's funny because I did the tarot reading where my guides told me, don't react, be careful not to react to what you're going through. And back then I was going through something, but I didn't know that I would go through way more. So I think my guides were like, there's more coming up for you, just don't react. And also what they said is that if I take positively the things that I'm going through right now, then it's going to lead me to, so I'm going to quantum jump, even if I'm like we are every time, like quantum jumping. Like, it's literally, the law of attraction is literally you quantum jumping, thinking that there's just one linear life when it's not. It's like a bunch of different realities that seems as if they're following each other. Anyway, go watch a Bashar video. You type Bashar on YouTube, and he's explaining it way better than me. And his video led me to so many spiritual breakthroughs. Like, it's awesome. And also I healed a lot of things thanks to him. But once I understood that, I understood what my guides told me in this tarot reading, where okay, just this situation is going to lead you to a reality that is going to get you closer to what you want, which it doesn't make sense from my perception. Like, if you knew the details of my situation, it doesn't make sense at all. But Bashar usually like is saying, okay, just it doesn't matter. The human mind is not there for you to understand how does the law of attraction is working, how does blah blah blah, how does this situation going to lead me to my best reality, my best future. Like, how you're not like, the human mind is not made for you to understand the how, just the present moments, right? So you focus on your goal and don't focus on how can I get to this goal. Okay, so maybe if I do this, I'm going to have more followers and I'm going to, doesn't matter. It can happen so differently for everyone. Like, and it's the case, like, we would know if there's just, let's say, just one way of being successful. There's so many ways. You can become friends with someone, you can whatever, you can have a video going viral overnight, you can have so many. So it's your higher self literally choosing this for you, and it's not you. And that's, it was hard for me to be like, okay, I need to focus on the present moment. And yes, I have goals and I'm like working towards them, but how, it doesn't matter. It's not easy, but it happens. So yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. I think I'm going to end this live here. I did a lot of different lives about different topic, but today I really wanted to stay on the topic of don't react to whatever is happening in your life. And I know it's not easy. Damn it, I know it's not easy. If I was telling you the details of my life, I'm going through hard shit. I'm going through health issues. I'm going through financial issues, family issues. Like, it's all happening at the same time. But I know that if I don't react to it, I'm going to get out of this situation way faster because I'm not nourishing this situation anymore. And that's the most important part. So yeah, that's it. Just take care. I don't know when I'll be live. I'm live way more often on TikTok. There's moments where I'm live like literally every day of the week. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't know. I don't plan anything. It's just I go with the flow. I go with my mood. And today I just wanted to go live while I'm just on a little walk. Anyway, so yeah, I'm posting videos every day, and oh, there's one coming up actually that I didn't post today on YouTube, and I'm going to post it. And it's Lila's Antara on TikTok. I have another TikTok also, which is Lila Pierre Travel. And I have another YouTube channel, which is Lila Pierre, which is me traveling and vlogging in Egypt, vlogging in Sri Lanka, vlogging everywhere, blah, blah, blah. And I also have a podcast channel with 2 podcasts, and it's Antara Podcast and Imperfect Podcast. I have to remember Imperfect Podcast because it's new, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, see you later. Bye.